Hey everyone, time for another fun day of health. We are still talking about exercise. We're going to delve a little bit deeper into exercise and how to set up an exercise program for yourself. And this is information that you guys can use for the rest of your life. I still sit down and write out exercise programs for myself. My kids obviously do that because I do it. So it's a really good way to just kind of help you meet your goals for your exercise and just something that you can come back to later in life. So if you write it down or if you keep this video, something that you can come back to and be like, oh yeah, I want to do this and this is how I do it. So a lot of information today, not as much stuff to write down, but a lot of stuff to go over. But it's all really exciting. So we're talking about the FITT principle today. So, all right, our FITT principle. We're on day 3. The date is up on the board. It says, warm up. To be fit, you should live the FITT rule. What do you think the FITT rule stands for? What does it mean? So you're just kind of thinking in your head right now, what do I think FITT, like what does that stand for? So what does the F stand for? What's the I stand for? What does the first T and the second T, what do those stand for? What do you think this means? And why do you think they use it to kind of help you stay on track with your exercise? So just kind of think through that right now and write that down in your warm-up section. And then when you're done, you're going to flip over to your notes on the back part of the page, and we're going to start talking about the FITT principle. So when you look at this, the FITT principle is, make sure that you can see it all and it looks even. Okay. When you are planning a fitness routine, you should use the FITT principle or rule. F stands for frequency. I, intensity. The first T is time. The second T is type. So you should be writing all of this stuff down in your notes. You will need to know all of that. So make sure you know what each letter stands for. And we're going to go into each letter and what they mean. Frequency refers to how often you exercise or the number of times you are active per week. So when you think about frequency, like for us, let's say in PE, our frequency of actual exercise time would have been twice a week. We went to the fitness center on Monday and we ran every Friday. So that would be our frequency. That's how often we did exercise. So the other days we worked on skill-related content. And there was obviously some movement involved with that, but it wouldn't be considered exercise if you think back to your definition from exercise from yesterday. So those are planned sessions that are aimed at improving your fitness level. And we did those on Monday and Friday. So that's frequency, how often, how the number of times you are active per week. Intensity refers to how hard or strenuously you exercise. This is determined by how fast your heart beats and how much weight you lift. As your fitness level improves, you will be able to do more intense activities. So when you think about us in the fitness center, we measured our intensity by like on the treadmill. When we were on the treadmill, we were on there about 12 minutes usually. And I had you write down each time, how far did you go, right? Like what was your distance, the distance that you traveled. If as you become better, your intensity goes up, you can run a little bit harder, you can go a little bit farther. So that's one way that we measured our intensity. But intensity is, are you sweating? Are you out of breath? Are your muscles weak and maybe shaking, right? Some of you definitely got to that on our fitness test, and you can feel that. That is intensity. If you haven't broke a sweat, if it's easy for you to talk as you're moving through the exercise, you are not working at a very intense level. The higher the intensity, the stronger your heart is getting. When you're exercising at a lower intensity, yes, you are getting some benefits for exercise. You're burning some calories, but you are not increasing your heart rate enough to make your heart stronger. So you want to be able to increase your intensity. And yes, it is a little bit painful. Yes, exercise can be a little bit uncomfortable, but you really want to push yourself to really working hard because that intensity level is what really helps make you more fit, right? It helps make your body healthier. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. The same thing, intensity on how much you're lifting. Like, keep going until your muscles feel shaking or until you can't push anymore. That's intensity, okay? So you're looking for high intensity when you exercise. The next T, or the first T, I should say, stands for time. Time refers to how long you spend being active or the number of minutes that you exercise. So I just said when we do our fitness center, we usually did 12 minutes of exercise. The typical number of exercise minutes is between 30 and 60. So every time you exercise, so each day, the frequency time, you are going to try to exercise between 30 and 60 minutes. 60 minutes is a lot for somebody who's just beginning with exercise. You might want to stick to closer to 30 minutes for that. But the time is actually how much time do you spend being active? How many minutes? Okay. Your type refers to the type of exercise or kind of exercise you choose to complete. So when you're thinking about this, and this is where a lot of information comes in, and you do not need to write, you need to have these definitions down, but this next information that I'm going to go over, you don't need to write down. The type refers to the different types of exercise, and there's all kinds, so this is the kind of exercise you choose to complete. The first type is cardiovascular or aerobic exercise. This is extended, non-stop, repetitive activity. Distance running, swimming, biking, rollerblading, anything that gets your heart pumping and where you aren't stopping, okay? It's nonstop, 20 minutes of running without stopping, 20 minutes of bike riding or swimming without stopping. That is the cardiovascular or aerobic exercise. And like I said, you don't need to write this down. This is just for your information. Muscular strength exercises is another type, and those are short bursts of high intensity activity. So if you are sprinting, like doing a 100-yard dash, and then maybe you wait for a couple minutes and then you do it again, that's a muscular strength activity. Any type of jumping or heavy weightlifting, those are all muscular strength activities. And I have to say, those are probably my favorite. I will include muscular strength activities in with my cardiovascular exercises. I like to do a little bit of running, like maybe I'll run for 5 minutes without stopping and then do some sprints. And then I might go back and run for 5 minutes and then sprint. Or I love to do different types, like if you've ever seen the insanity workouts where your vertical jumps and your basketball shots and you're jumping from side to side. I enjoy high intensity short bursts of exercise. That's called a HIIT workout, if you've ever heard of that. It's high intensity interval training. And it's a lot, for me, it's a lot of fun, and it kind of breaks things up a little bit, gives you something different to do, and it's a really good way to get your heart rate up because that intensity is what makes your heart stronger, right? So those are the muscular strength activities. Then you have muscular endurance activities. Okay, there we go. Muscular endurance activities are like a weightlifting circuit, body weight exercises. These are things that we do in the weight room. So things that don't really get you that out of breath. They, like you might do push-ups for 30 seconds, sit-ups for 30 seconds, lunges for 30 seconds, then go to the weight machine. This is where you're doing lots of reps, maybe 15, 20 reps on a weight machine, and then going to another weight machine, or doing 3 sets of 10 of the same weight machine. That would be more muscular endurance, okay? And that's giving your muscles the ability to work for a prolonged period of time, right? Muscular endurance is muscles working for a long period of time. Remember, muscular strength is short bursts, right? One best effort, that's muscular strength. Okay, flexibility exercises, and these are also great, especially for helping you relax and de-stress. So those are moving your joints through a full range of motion, things like Pilates, yoga. Static stretching is stuff where you're sitting still, reaching down, touching your toes, but you're not moving. Dynamic stretches, on the other hand, are things like we do at the beginning of class time. So those are all types of flexibility. Some people just do yoga exercises and they love them. They help keep them fit. They're strengthening their muscles and stretching. Really good exercises. All right, then you come into skill-related exercise. These are aspects of fitness which form the basis for successful sports participation. They're often incorporated into sport practices. So these are things like speed, agility, balance, coordination, reaction time, and power. And like I said, you don't need to write these down. You can if you want to have this information, but you absolutely do not have to. So skill-related exercise is things where you're really working on your speed, moving quickly from one point to another. Agility, changing directions quickly. So this would be things like suicides, where you run down, touch the line, come back, touch the next line, come back, touch the next line. Things where you're working on your balance, right? Being able to maintain an upright posture while standing still, being on one foot, maybe balancing on one foot and one hand. Okay, coordination. So this is where your sport activities definitely come into play. Being able to use your hand and feet movements with the input of your senses. So seeing the ball, catching the ball, seeing the ball, kicking the ball, right? So that's your coordination. Reaction time, how long it takes you to get moving or react to something coming your way. And power is the ability to do strength work at an explosive pace. Okay, so someone who's powerful will have a really high vertical jump, right? They're very explosive, and their muscles are so strong that they are able to explode quickly. Okay, they also can usually lift a lot of heavy weights. So these are skill-related exercises. That's different types of exercise. So we're still talking about that last T, which was the type of exercise. So those are all different types of exercises that you can take part in. All right, our warm-up. So every good exercise starts with a warm-up and ends with a cool-down. We are done talking about the FITT principle. The FITT principle is just those 4 letters: frequency, intensity, time, and type. So when you sit down, you think to yourself, okay, I want to work out twice a week. I want to work out one day at a really high intensity and one day at a medium intensity. On my medium intensity day, I'm going to go for an hour because it's not really hard. On my high intensity day, I'd like to go for 30 minutes, right? On my high intensity day, I'm going to do a lot of power exercises and a lot of speed work on my high intensity day. On my low intensity day, I'm going to do some stretching and some muscular endurance work, right? So that's how you set up your program, and that's how you know what you're doing and what you're working on and what your goals are, right? So if you're trying out for a sport team, working on speed and coordination and agility is going to be a whole lot better for you than maybe just running marathons, right? So it's good to have that endurance, but if you're working on trying out for a basketball team or a baseball team, they're looking for how quickly can you move side to side? Are you able to catch a ball, and are you able to pass a ball? Are you able to hit a ball? Things like that. So depending on what you're trying to do with your exercise goals, that's where this program comes into play. Now, part of any program is going to be your warm-up and your cool-down, okay? Warm-up, cool-down. It's hard to see that way. I'll go this way. And I need to turn the camera around. So your warm-up, what you do at the beginning of workout to get blood and oxygen flowing to your muscles and raise your body temperature. So that's your warm-up. That's what we do. Dynamic stretches, that is part of our warm-up, okay? Jogging can be part of a warm-up. Walking, doing jumping jacks, those can all be part of a warm-up. All of those dynamic stretches we do at the beginning of class, all part of a warm-up. Cool down, what you do at the end of a workout to bring your heart rate back to normal and break up the lactic acid that has built up in your muscles so you aren't sore the next day, okay? So doing a cool down, if you've been sprinting, jogging a couple laps, walking a couple laps to bring your heart rate back down to normal. It also helps break up the acid that builds up in your muscles, and that lactic acid causes your muscles to be sore. So you want to break that up and get rid of it so it's not so bad. All right, target heart rate, resting heart rate, and recovery heart rate. We are going to do, I'm going to put them out here so you can see them. We're going to do an assignment talking about these 3 things. So this is the end of your notes, and the assignment is coming, and I'm going to talk a lot more in depth about target heart rate, resting heart rate, and recovery heart rate in the assignment video that I'm going to put up. So target heart rate is the range that your heart rate should be beating at during exercise, okay? Resting heart rate is the number of times your heart beats in 1 minute while you are resting. Resting heart rate while at rest. Recovery heart rate is how long it takes for your heart to return to normal after exercise, okay? All right, and like I said, I'm going to go through those a lot more in depth in our activity that we have for today. So that's it for the notes. You should only have 10 definitions. If you wanted to write down the types of exercise, you could, but you definitely did not need to. That's just kind of for your information when you're thinking about different types of exercise. Okay. I know that was a lot, and this is just slightly shorter than yesterday's video, but still shorter, and less notes, so that part is all good. Okay, look for the assignment video because you do need to know target heart rate, resting heart rate, and recovery heart rate will all be on your test, so you need to make sure you know those things. So look for the video so that you can see exactly how to do the assignment and what exactly those words entail. All right, have a great day, guys.